Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jewel. I'm here to do a process share of a journal cover for you. And I'm starting on a journal cover series, and I'm going to be doing a bunch of different journal covers, just different ideas. And this journal cover I actually had recorded the other day, and the whole process of how I made this cover. And it is a flexi, I call it my flexi spine, my flexi cover journal with a hollow spine. And but for some reason it would not, I lost it. I don't know, I started to upload it and it just disappeared. So I went ahead and made the whole book and did a flip through of the book, but I'm going to have to do a whole nother one, and I'm going to do that today. Record a whole nother one. Now, my idea for this was, I was noticing the spine on my Bible, and it's like this very flexible soft cover. Now I've made other soft cover journals before, and I just never could get that real good flexible. Plus I also noticed that it had a hollow spine. Now I decided, well, how, I was just thinking about it at night, like when I was trying to sleep, like I do everything. That's why I don't sleep well. And I thought, I think craft text and fabric would work well. And that's how I created this cover. So now, craft text, if you're not familiar with it, I'll go over it real quick with you. It is a fabric paper. Now, you can get it on these large rolls like this. This is a big, round, white roll. It comes in many different colors. You can also get it in these little sample packs. This is a 5-color sampler pack, and it has 5 different colors. Now the beauty of this stuff is you can do so many different things with it. You can paint on it. You can, here's a piece of white, and this is painted because I'm going to be using this on the inside of the cover. You can also treat it and get it extremely soft. It can also be thrown in the washing machine and washed, and it gets very soft. You can emboss on it. It takes paint, it takes inks, it takes acrylics, it takes all sorts of different things. It's wonderful. It's not really a fabric and it's not really a paper, but it's extremely durable, and I make a lot of my spines with this because I like the flexibility of it and the durability. This particular piece right here, I've actually already I treated. This piece has not been treated. When I mean treated is I'm going to use this for another journal cover to make it look like leather, and I treated it with and I will be doing a process video of this as well, vegetable glycerin. So that's a whole nother thing. But I just wanted to give you a heads up on what we were using and what craft text is if you're not familiar with it. And you can get it on Amazon. It comes in all colors. Today we're going to be using white because I'm making a ladies' garden journal. And this is the guts of the book right here, but I'm just going to be showing the process of the journal cover because this is a series on journal covers. Now, for my project, I wanted to make a 8.5 by 5.5 inch journal. Let me move this one out of the way. With actually a 2-inch spine. That's wrong. 2-inch spine. It's not a 1.5 inch spine. So, whoops, what am I writing 8 for? With a 2-inch spine. So, depending on the size journal cover you want, you will cut your craft text to the size of the spine of the journal cover you want. Now, if I'm going to have a 2-inch spine, I have to make sure whatever you guys want your journal size to be, you have to add the two, you know, the size of the spine in there before you cut your material. Now I cut this material off of the roll and it was kind of rounded up. You can see I kind of measured wrong. And how to get it unround, you know, where it was kind of rounded, simply take your ruler and or on your desk and run it over it like this, and it'll flatten your fabric paper out. Okay, so for this I wanted a 2-inch spine, an 8.5-inch journal, or 8.5 this way, 5.5 this way, and then the 2 inches for the spine. So I calculated, I added 2 inches more in, and I calculated how the size of the craft text I needed, the piece, and then 2 more pieces of craft text I cut for the inside, and you'll see what I'm saying as we go along. So I'm getting ahead of myself here. So now I've cut my craft text down to the size I needed, and I also cut my fabric, and I wanted my fabric to have about 1 inch all the way around. So after you cut your craft text, and there are 2 sides to this. I've noticed this rougher side, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, this takes the inks and paints better than the smoother side. So here's a smoother side. So when you're gluing the material on, it really does not matter. I'm going to go ahead, let me show you what I did though. I put it right on my scoreboard because I knew I wanted a 2-inch spine. So let me pull this one back out so you can see what I mean. This was a 1.5-inch spine, so it would actually, as opposed to sometimes your soft cover journals they just kind of are rounded. I wanted an actual looking spine, you know, like the Bible I showed you. And then you can see here's the hollow in here. So this was a 1/2 inch, but you can see you can see the actual spine right here. Okay, so that's, I went and I scored it, or you can fold it to get more of a, you know, like a line. See how that just, it works like paper in a way? When you can score it like you do paper, as opposed to fabric, you know, you can't really score fabric. So now what I'm going to do is I picked out this, this color, or this fabric I have, and that's going to be the cover. And I've got all my trims and my laces that I'll be using on the cover. I like this. Somewhere I will be putting that on the cover. And this is kind of like a whimsical floral theme, and that's why I chose the kit I did. Because this kit, and I will do a whole flip through of this, had, let me just show you a couple of the pages. The women in the garden, so very whimsical. There's another one of it, and this I will be, when I do the flip through, I will ink what the papers are that link the papers and where I got them from when we do the flip through. So that's why I chose this fabric. It's kind of a floral, whimsical thing. Now I gotta figure out which way is up and which way is down. I don't think it really matters. I have a huge piece of it. I also did some flips in here of the fabric. Let me see if I have that, because I just wanted to see it in a bigger scale. Here's one. So I guess it really doesn't matter which way. That's kind of like a paisley design. It's a very whimsical material. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and glue it right on the Fabri-Tex. So that's where you're going to get that nice flexible cover. And so let's go ahead and do that quickly. And then we will go to the second step. Now, I'd already done this video once with the other thing, but I really do like the way it came out. And also, I did sew it. You don't have to, but I will come in and sew around this, and because of the flexibility, I actually sewed down the sides after I had glued the signatures in. I know that sounds odd, but you'll see what I mean in a minute, because I don't have my machine over here, so I want you guys to see the whole process. And plenty of glue. I don't need as much as I would if I wasn't going to sew it. Man, that glue smells. I used Fabri-Tac because it's a low, there's no water in it, so it's a good fabric glue. Let me just put the lid. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and glue this way. Then we are going to actually, I've got to do a little paint on here and then add a little trim in here, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a minute. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to sit down. If you really want to make sure your fabric's adhered good, just take like a credit card and go over it. Like I have this old, let me see, Macy's, like this. Ooh, sorry about that screechy noise. Now let me grab a pair of scissors because I'm just going to come in and miter the corners a little bit. So I'm just going to take a little bit off each corner. So we don't have a lot of bulk. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be covering this. Hopefully I can stay in frame for you. So I'm trying to think of my next journal cover and which one I might, the next one I might show you is an option for a soft cover journal as to you know, to the fabric, you know, to the craft text rather. But I'll do a couple of videos in between. I want to do some videos on making tags and what I do with my beverage bags and when I put them in, you know, and different things. Let's take off a couple of these strings. Let me make sure that this, yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't have too much bulk. So it's really, I have done a couple of videos, guys, on, you know, how different things to do with craft text, and they're somewhere, and maybe I'll just go back and link a few of those. And because I have made some really neat leather look traveler's journals with them. And I did do a video on that a long while ago. Let's see if I go back in my playlist and see if I can find it and link it. Okay, oops, got strings everywhere sticking to me. So I'm calling this my flexi cover with hollow spine. And I'm sure it's been done before. I'm not probably the only one that's ever done something like this. So it's a combination of several different types of journals that I've made. in the past. Okay, so now we've got that glued on. I just want to make sure, I want this to be the front. I like that big flower. So then I came in and I cut down 2 more pieces of the white craft text, and I painted them with this Perfect Pearls, which is a watercolor metallic type paint. It's a powder, and you just use it just like you would a watercolor. And I tried to figure out which color I wanted, so I came in with the green, and then I did this one, and this one is called Forever Red, but you can see it's not really red, it's like a bronzy red, and then this is like a bronze color, and I liked this one the best. Now I am going to put pockets on the front of this, probably with lace, some lace pockets. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. Whoops, I'm skipping a whole part. Can't do that yet. First thing I have to do, because in order to make it a hollow spine journal, this has to go in first. And it does, this part does not glue. Now, if you guys, you know, have never done a hollow spine journal before, they're not hard. What you don't do is like, as opposed to a hidden spine where you can glue this whole thing right in. The reason for a hollow spine is this part is not glued in, so the book has, especially if it's a big book, it'll be able to lay flatter for journaling. So this book will be able to lay super flat, and I do have actually sketch paper in here and everything. So that's why I wanted to do the flexi or the hollow spine. Now I've done these with a hard binding, but I've never done them with a soft binding. So this is, except for this first journal over here. And so what I have to do now is, we can put it on here, but I wanted to put a little trim in here. So you see how I put a little trim in here? It's like the heading, the header, or whatever you want to call it, of the book. And so what I'm going to do is, I did cut, I think I cut a couple of pieces of fabric. Here they are. And I'm going to cut a couple pieces of this lace that I used in the book. And I'm just simply going to glue this to the top. Now I'm trying to think if I want the lace. No, I want the lace, this in the back, right? And the lace in the front. Do I even really want the lace? I'm determining. I don't even think I even really, well, let me look. I haven't completely thought this through. Okay, I think I'm gonna put the lace on first. Okay, so we're gonna need 2 inches because it's just gonna be on the spine part, but I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And let's just cut that and glue that first. Right here. Then, let me see. Okay. There is a right side and a wrong side to this little lace. It's kind of like a peachy rose color. It's pretty. And then this just peeking out from behind. And this is just some muslin fabric, and I frayed it, you know, so it would look, well, a little more vintagey, I guess, since this is like a vintage style journal. Okay, now we're going to do this side, same thing. Let me just get rid of a couple of these strings. And we need 2 inches here. So I'm just eyeballing it. Glue that on. So I went with my daughter to, she's pregnant for her 3rd baby. So she has a 5 and a 3-year-old. And I went with her to the ultrasound, and we found out that they're having a boy. So she'll have 2 boys and 1 girl. And my granddaughter Isla was not too happy. She said, I wanted to share my room with somebody. So now we have, that'll be our 5th grandchild. So how about that? I feel like I'm getting up there. Whoops. Now, this is the front. Now, I cut this one a little short. So I might put this one here because I know I'm going to put a pocket here so you won't see this. So I like to have like about 1/8 of an inch of the fabric showing. But I don't want to do that yet. Oh, I almost did it again. Okay, so before we put that on there, we're going to glue this in. Now what I did here is I have 6 inches. I have 2 inches on each side, and I did a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. And so I have other videos where I show how to, you know, sew in the book, you know. So if you need to look that up, there's a ton of videos out there to sew, you know. It would be the same way you would sew it if you've never done a hidden or a pamphlet stitch. You would sew it right in. So it's the same type of thing. So I sewed it onto another piece of the craft text of 6 inches. So I have 2 inches to glue in on each side. We're not gluing in the middle. So I'm going to stand up for this. Now, I did, let me get a little bit more of a crease in the cover. And this, I did come in and score right there. So I had, you could see, you know, I actually do have a, you know, a spine. There's 2 inches there. So I want to line this up right. So basically what I usually do is I come in and I just eyeball everything. So you can see that would be right there. That's a good fit right there. So I get a good fit. Actually, it needs to come this down just a tad. And let me just look on this side. This is not quite right. I'm lining up my score marks is what I'm doing basically. So this is still, let me see. That looks, you know what? I gotta cut this string off a little bit more. These are just a little long. They're kind of getting in my way. Okay, here we go. That looks pretty good right there. And let me see. This score part seems a little off on this side. I don't know. There we go. That's a little bit better. And up. Okay. Okay, now I am going to glue down these flaps, just the flaps. So I'm actually going to just do that just like that. I'll get it back in place and put a generous amount. Now I've seen people use a little score tape ahead of time to adhere this, you know, to adhere your signatures in. But I've done this several times, well, a lot, so. And sometimes I've had to rip books apart. They haven't come out perfect. You can, every time something different happens. Okay, let me see. Yep, that's right in there. It should be pretty well centered. So I'm just going to, let me see, let me just take my bone folder and just get that good. Now, what I do sometimes is I will take a paper clip and let me see if I have one over here. Maybe not. Or you could use a binder clip, but I think a binder clip, I find a binder clip ends up, well, I guess not. It leaves marks on your fabric sometimes. I have a short paper clip, and you can just kind of hold that while it continues to dry while you do the other side. Oops, here, I've got a bigger one. Just take a nice long one. So that is going to keep drying on that side. Now we're going to go ahead and glue the other side down. I get right up to the score of the spine with the glue. And notice how I have the up arrow? That's, I always measure everything because when I go to sew my signatures in, I want to make sure everything's going the right way. Okay, now, yep, I want to make sure that, let's make sure this other side's holding. It's holding. And let me just check here. Look at that. Looks good. I don't know if you all can see that. Looks good. Right up to the top, right to the bottom. All the measurements were good. Measure, what do they say? Measure twice, cut once. I can't tell you how many times I've not done that right. Okay, looks pretty good, guys. Now we're ready to put our, now here you can do like I did and do more because I wanted to keep the nice flexible spine, or you could put in cover papers here if you want, you know, but I'm sticking with the and this isn't quite right because I cut it a little short. You can see this piece would fit a little bit better. Actually, they're both a little short, but that's okay. I kind of like the paint, the darker paint on this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think this part's still gluing or drying a little bit. Let me go and glue the back cover page in. So I wanted to show you, you see that this is got it's hollow in here. There's a space in here. Okay, now I'm gonna just glue on this piece of craft text. Did I tell you? I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Craft Text, you can emboss it, run it through your embossing machine. It comes out pretty darn good. You can emboss on it if you're going to heat emboss. You can stamp on it, just like you would paper. I think I'll put it up a little further, and then I'll do a pocket down here because it is a little short. I don't like to waste the papers though, because, or the material, fabric paper, because it's not, you know, super cheap. It is a little pricier than paper, I think. Yep. Okay, so now we're going to go to this side, and we'll put down the paper on this side. You can see you can write right on it because I've obviously measured something way wrong. So Monday, I'm celebrating my 60th birthday, but we're going to celebrate it tomorrow. My son's coming in from California. All my kids are going to be here, the grandkids. We're going to go to dinner. No parties. I don't want anything like that. I'm not a big party person, so I like a nice dinner out. Let's move that, and here we go. Just gotta go this way. I'm gonna move it up a little bit because I'm gonna do a pocket. I'm gonna do some kind of a lace pocket on this. Okay, so I'm not going to decorate the cover or anything like that. I just wanted to give you the basic constructions of this these soft. Let me put this aside and let it dry a little bit more. But you can see that I've got a pocket in here. That this is a nice hollow spine journal, very flexible, and it lays completely flat. Okay, so that was my goal, and I like it. I'm going to probably do a lot more of these covers. I'm going to make a matching bag, storage bag, drawstring bag, as I did with this one, and I have not listed this one in my shop yet. I haven't been very good about getting stuff in my shop after I do the video. So I just wanted to show you. You can see it's hollow here. So that is my flexi cover with hollow spine construction of a cover. Okay guys, thanks for hanging in there with me, and let me know if you try this technique and how you liked it. Alrighty? Alright, have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. But hey guys, if you haven't, please do a thumbs up and like and subscribe for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.